So, my name is Ray, and I'm an artist. And I've been seeing people on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot do sketchbook reviews, sketchbook look-throughs. And I thought that seemed kind of interesting. But the caveat is I'm old. I'm 47, about to turn 48 this year. And I keep everything. So I have some sketchbooks that go way back. Um, just, you know, this one I thought I would try for a first one because it's the oldest one I could find. And I'm not quite sure. I'm also bad at math. I have a math disability. But I'm not sure if this one goes back to high school or possibly as far back as a little bit of middle school. It's not very thick, but I thought it'd be a good place to start. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's any dates written in here for reference. I do know I graduated high school in 1997. Yeah, here's a old sketchbook look through. Obviously, I didn't like the cover. It wasn't fancy and fantasy enough, so this was probably a piece of grocery bag that I then specialed up with some slightly metallic colored pencils. It looks like I was working colored pencil in here a lot. And I'm not going to say that I was gay right out of the gate, but little queer start there. We got like some kind of a cherry blossom tree on some hills. I don't know. I'm not going to remember a lot of these. And there's some little sketches inside. This has got to be middle school. If you're a Gen X or a millennial kid, maybe you remember from the 80s those old fantasy posters. The artist's name was Sue Daw. She had a lot of like unicorns and dragons and stuff. Just a staple of 80s fantasy posters. I know she had some like robotic unicorns and Pegasuses and stuff. This is definitely Sue Daw inspired unicorn there. I should have warned there should maybe some NSFW stuff in here. We got a little water nymph. I'm guessing this might be as far back as middle school because when I was a little kid, I did not draw people. People were not interesting to me. Only animals were interesting. So I didn't really know how to draw people, even though, like, a lot of the anatomy for this robot unicorn is pretty decent. Yeah. And I was definitely in my whale phase here. I don't know how well that shows up. Thank you, Diane Duane, for the Young Wizards series of books, especially Deep Wizardry, which was my favorite. Lots of whale drawings. And another gay-ass dolphin flying. I like ocean things, but I also like flying things, so it's not unusual for me to try and combine the two. We got a little bonsai tree in a pot with a probably supposed to be a monarch butterfly. That's not scientifically accurate. I was briefly into bonsai, and I did have a little bonsai tree for a while. Some kind of bush that I found. Yeah, we got wolves here. Wolves were definitely a thing too. How I finally learned to start drawing people was I took a sidelong path into that via elves because I got very into ElfQuest and learned to draw elves before I ever drew people. So alongside with drawing elves, I was also drawing a lot of wolves. Was very into wolves and very into whales. Did I mention I was also very into things with wings, even things that didn't normally have wings? It's a cat and a dog. I don't know. They flying. I can't explain it. Oh, oh. Maybe I should just be keeping this horizontal here. We got a deer also flying, very ethereal wings. We got some little assistance from little Hermes-esque ankle wings. Does he? No. I thought he had fangs for a second, but it's just a smudge. I think that was a plan for some kind of board game that I was going to make. And those were supposed to be game pieces. And I can't tell you anything beyond that. That's what comes to my vague memory. Wolf and dragon. And I believe nail polish on the dragon egg opal. Maybe it's supposed to be an opal. Also very into opals. Oh boy, we got a whole little story here. I'm not going to read the story. But I do believe the story and the picture go together. And I believe that was a picture and story inspired by a piece of music. Oh God, this handwriting. It hasn't gotten any better. I was hoping it would have the piece of music on here, but it does not. Yeah, my handwriting isn't much better than that now. I got grade school blocky printing. And we got a waterfall, but just for some added interest, there are some little teeny pixie fairy people playing around in it. Spiral dance, it says on the back of that one. The hunter and the hunted. Deer and wolves. We did not have wolves where I grew up, although we did have cougars. But we did have a lot of deer, so I saw deer on an almost daily basis growing up. We had them in our yard. Another Sioux Dawn-inspired Pegasus unicorn, or winged horse. Pegasus is a specific winged horse, but yeah, and again, I had my horse anatomy down, and obviously was trying to translate it into something robotic and thinking about where it would need to bend and everything. I believe that was an attempt to draw basically what I saw out of my bedroom window one night, kind of a harvest moon with that rainbow around the moon, because there was this thin cloud cover, just enough for that kind of refraction. More whales in places whales shouldn't be. Whales in the rainforest. Humpback whales specifically. Humpback whales are my favorite visually, with the long trailing fins. Again, not a species we had where I grew up. We had mostly orcas, which are not even technically whales. We got a fake-ass cover of Women Who Run with the Wolves here, but that's where I was at mentally at that point in time. This is, again, just a study out of, I think, my bedroom window. We had, I grew up in Washington State, so we had a lot of pine trees, and I can tell what I was trying to really get here was this cloud bank, but didn't capture it very effectively. But, I was trying. I was trying some landscape drawing and some sky drawing there. Yeah, this is definitely around the time I was reading ElfQuest and stuff, and I drew male characters like that. I mostly drew men, some women, sexy women. My mother didn't believe that I was gay. That is a chair I own. That is a real chair that I still have. Poetry. What does it mean? I don't know. a moon over snow. Some of these landscapes would be more effective if I had gone ahead and done them in watercolor, which I certainly knew how to use at that point in time, but I don't know, I was into colored pencil. It was a little more portable. The title of this is supposed to be a pun. I do kind of remember this. It is a drawing of a taxidermied deer head. I was at a sleepover at somebody's house, and they had this taxidermied deer head on the wall, which I wasn't around taxidermy a lot growing up. Oh, it has gotten dark and is raining. I wondered why the light had dimmed. But yeah, so that is actually a still life, technically. Not sure why I tore it out and then put it back in again. A pine tree that is glowing from behind. I can see visually what I was trying to capture there with this like backlighting, but I'm not quite sure conceptually where that idea came from. Oh, I can't tell you who this is. But I do vaguely remember that this is a character from some YA fantasy book that I was reading. That was about some kind of sort of panther-esque species. But I don't remember enough. I don't remember the character's name or anything. But that's fan art from some book that I was reading. Wish I could remember the title. He is supposed to be a wolf. A little bit cat-like. This is just what it says on the tin. He was, at the time, my youngest cousin. He now has a younger brother, Kevin, and God, James and Kevin are both over 18 now. They are both adults. But yeah, he was a baby then, and my aunt and uncle came to visit with him. I couldn't tell you how old he was here, a year and a half, maybe? A year? Something like that. He wasn't a infant. He was an older baby. But, yeah, I was starting to try and draw people, and for the time, I would say this was actually a pretty damn good attempt, especially because even today I have trouble drawing kids. The proportions are just so different. It's a sketch of somebody in a fancy labyrinth, but it obviously didn't get finished. More poetry. The camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. Artist's Dilemma. I painted me a picture of a rainbow room. My God, my handwriting is exactly the same now. With midnight flowers in full bloom, and waterfalls and unicorns, and beautiful greyhounds with antelope's horns, of people wearing bluebird wings, a little tree covered with flowery things. Ooh, poetic. A hawk sitting peacefully next to a lark, and all of this happening in the dark. I took it to my teacher, and she said, "Why did you paint this paper black? Why don't you go start a new one? And this time, use some imagination." So, not a personal specific experience or anything, but kind of funny. I like it. This was a cartoon character. Somehow I am not, as an adult, a furry, but yeah, it was a near thing as I was growing up. So yeah, I guess she was sort of a fursona, foxy lady. It is way more red in person. The camera's turning it orange, but that seems appropriate, so. Oh God, have we reached the end? This is the problem with some of my older sketchbooks, is that I wouldn't quite finish, and I would get tired of them. I'm not going to show that one because it's very, very, very personal. But yeah, so that's an old sketchbook. I did see that 1993 on the portrait of my cousin. So gosh. If I graduated high school in 97, 96. So like the freshman year of high school? Yeah, that sounds about right. So end of middle school and summer and everything, and freshman year of high school for this one. Um, I may have to do a different camera setup. The other sketchbooks are bigger; they're more like 8.5 by 11 type size, whereas this one is little. Well, you can probably see that because it's on an OmniGrid mat. But yeah, I may do more of these just because it's interesting to look back retrospective at where I've been. And I am sure when I get into some of the later high school ones, there will be a bunch of D&D gaming characters um, in there. But yeah, so there's a sketchbook review.